Hello everyone, this is Stormborn283 back with another video dedicated to Season 2 of House of the Dragon. It's premiering June 16th, which is right around the corner, so I thought that I would put together a video with my timeline prediction of Season 2 and which events I think could be happening in each episode. This video will be full of spoilers from Fire and Blood, so if you haven't read Fire and Blood and you don't want the show spoiled for you, then you'll probably want to click off of the video now. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. My predictions are based off of everything we've gotten from the trailers so far, and of course from the events outlined in Fire and Blood. So in episode 1, it was rumored, and I think it may have been confirmed, I'm not sure, but it may have been confirmed by the showrunners that the opening shot will be in Winterfell or on the wall in the north, which will be really exciting. And then after that, I'm hoping that they jump straight into Rhaenyra and the aftermath of the events of episode 10. I think we'll get the scene of Rhaenyra looking for Luke. We saw bits of that in the teaser and in the first trailer. I think this is when we'll see that shot of her and Syrax on the beach, where it looks like they may even find some remains of Arax. And then I'm thinking that we'll get the planning of Blood and Cheese, and I'm wondering how involved Rhaenyra will be. I'm wondering if this will be Daemon acting on behalf of Rhaenyra, or if she's the one that is really driving this vengeance, and if she's the one that says, okay, let's do this. And then I think we'll get the funeral for Viserys after Rhaenyra finds the remains, and then I'm hoping that we get the scene of Aemon returning to King's Landing and of Alysanne and Otto reacting to what he did and what happened in episode 10 with Viserys. I think this is when we'll get Aegon on the Iron Throne, those shots from the trailer. I think we'll get some Green Council meetings in the Red Keep. We'll get that to war then scene that we saw from Aegon in the teaser trailer.
Good. To war then.
I think we'll get Otto and Alysanne's perhaps the satisfaction of vengeance scene that we saw in the Green trailer. I think they'll be preparing for the fallout from Aemon and Viserys. And then I think we'll see the end of the episode will probably be Blood and Cheese carried out, I'm thinking. And we'll have, perhaps in episode 1, we'll also have Daemon leaving for the Riverlands and for Harrenhal. And then for episode 2, we should get the funeral for Jaehaerys, the son of Helaena and Aegon. That is the casualty of Blood and Cheese. We'll get that shot of Alysanne and Helaena leading the funeral procession. It looked like there were clips. It looks like there will be some riots in King's Landing, some rioting similar to what we saw in season 2 of Game of Thrones, when the Lannisters and Sansa are coming back from watching Marjorie leave and they get attacked by the people of King's Landing. I think we may get a scene like that during the funeral for Jaehaerys, maybe. It looks like Alysanne is wearing the same dress, as in there were some promo pics and a shot of in the trailer where we see Alysanne getting grabbed by some peasants or by some just King's Landing people, and it looks like she's wearing the same dress, the same outfit as the Jaehaerys funeral. We'll get Aegon's reaction to Blood and Cheese and Fire and Blood. He has all of the rat catchers killed, and then Otto has to bring in a bunch of cats to catch all of the rats in the Red Keep, and those cats stay for generations. We could have the torturing of Blood, one of the participants in Blood and Cheese. We'll have Helaena. She's going to fall into a depression. She's going to fall into a madness. She'll no longer be able to be depended on as a dragon rider for the Greens. We'll see, I think we'll get Daemon in the Riverlands. We may get that bend the knee to the queen or your house will burn scene. And then we may get Viserys in the Vale. He leaves from Dragonstone on his mission that Rhaenyra, she sends both Viserys and Jace on missions. And we know what happens to Lucerys, but Jacaerys, he's supposed to go to the Vale, and then from the Vale he flies to the north, so maybe we'll get those scenes of him in the Vale in episode 2. In episode 3, I think we'll get more of Daemon and the Riverlands. I think we may get Daemon sacking Harrenhal. We may get the Brackens and the Blackwoods, smaller houses that support the rival sides of the Targaryens. They have battles and duels. We may get that in episode 3. I think we'll get more shots of Alysanne and Helaena in mourning, more reactions to Blood and Cheese and just to the war. I think they'll be more grief-stricken. We may get Jace in the north. I think we should get around episode 3. After the Vale, he lands in White Harbor, and then from White Harbor, he goes on to Winterfell, where, of course, he meets Cregan Stark and gains Rhaenyra's most steadfast ally, the Lord of Winterfell. I think we'll get the removal of Otto as Hand, and Otto will be replaced with Criston, who Aegon calls his strong steel fist, I think. I think we'll get more shots. I think Aegon is really going to start to lose it. He's going to start drinking even more than he already does, and he's going to start really dipping off the deep end. Also in episode 3, I think we'll see more of Larys and Criston and Alysanne. I think they'll all be playing more of a role in the council meetings for Team Green and for Aegon and the Red Keep. And then moving on to episode 4, I think we'll get Eric versus Eric. That is one of the things that happens after Criston becomes Hand of the King to Aegon. He attempts to assassinate Rhaenyra using one of the Cargill twins to sneak into Dragonstone and to find Rhaenyra and take her out. And while he's on Dragonstone, Eric runs into his brother Eric, and they have a duel to the death. And I think we'll get that around episode 4. We should also get Criston at Rosby. We should get that in episode 4. And then the big event, the major event that we'll get is the Battle of Rook's Rest. I think is confirmed to take place in episode 4. This is when we're going to have Rhaenys and Meleys. They're going to be coming to the defense of some loyal lords to Rhaenyra. And during this time, Meleys and Rhaenys, they'll take on Sunfire and Aegon, and they do a really good job. Meleys pretty much dispatches and she takes out Sunfire and Aegon both, but then Vhagar and Aemon descend, and Meleys is no match for both Sunfire and Vhagar. So I think this is when we'll get those shots of Vhagar and Aemond, that amazing shot from the green trailer of Vhagar coming flying out of the clouds. I think we'll get that. And I think that Baela has been added to the Battle of Rook's Rest. So that's a huge change from the books. I like it. I think that it gives her more agency. But I'm wondering how she ends up there. I'm thinking that maybe she'll want to leave with Rhaenys and she won't be allowed to. And so she'll sort of leave later and she'll follow Rhaenys to battle. And maybe she'll arrive, just too late. Maybe she'll arrive just in time to witness the end of the battle and to witness what happens to Rhaenys. And I think that's, of course, is when we'll get that amazing shot of Baela on her Dragon Moon Dancer screaming that we got in the teaser trailer. So I think also in episode 4, we may get some of Jacaerys in the north. We'll get more of his relationship that he forms, the bond that he forms with Cregan Stark. And then, of course, there are the Sarah Snow rumors from Fire and Blood that perhaps Jacaerys breaks his betrothal to Baela and marries Sarah Snow in Winterfell, but those are just rumors. It does not seem like Jacaerys' character. In the show, or really in the books, it doesn't seem like his character to be unfaithful or to be unloyal or to go back on his word, but we don't know. It could be, a Robb Stark situation. So by episode 5, Aegon and Sunfire are down, Aegon has broken ribs, a broken hip, he's covered in burns, and Sunfire has Meleys partially tore one of his wings from his body. He's not able to fly, so he's left guarded in the fields around Rook's Rest. Rhaenys is found next to her dragon, Meleys, and we already saw the shots. So it's confirmed we will be getting, and I'm sure it'll happen in episode 5, we'll be getting Meleys' head gets carried through the streets of King's Landing. And we should be getting Aemond. He will be crowned in his brother's place. We may start to get Rhaenyra more involved in the war. We may get the shot of her and Syrax flying to Harrenhal. We may get that shot that it was kind of mysterious from the black trailer of Rhaenyra talking to a woman. She's standing on the battlements of a castle. We may get that scene in episode 5. We may get Corlys and Rhaenyra have a bit of a falling out in the books after the death of Rhaenys, so we may get that in episode 5. And as the war rages on, we'll get Alysanne. She closes the city gates. They start to close off King's Landing more. And then moving on to episode 6, we'll get more Hightower troop movements in episode 6. By episode 6, Jace should be back to Dragonstone, and he begins to take on more of a role as his mother's heir. And as the prince to the kingdom, he orders his younger brother Joffrey to fly to Goldtown with his dragon Tyraxes. And Rhaena, Daemon's daughter, she accompanies him with 3 dragon's eggs that she prays to every night. Baela, she refuses to leave Jace and Dragonstone, so Baela will still be there. Jace also makes plans for his youngest brothers, Viserys and Aegon, to be fostered in Pentos. Jace names Corlys Hand of the Queen to bring him back into the fold, and they begin to plan an attack on King's Landing. And this is when I'm wondering if we will be getting Mushroom. Mushroom is one of the narrators. He's kind of the craziest, the silliest narrator from Fire and Blood. And he is with Rhaenyra the whole time. And he makes a lot of claims about her side and about the events of Fire and Blood. And he claims that it's him who urges Jace to find dragon seeds and enlist them to fight and fly on behalf of Rhaenyra. And I'm wondering if we'll get Mushroom. So we should get, about now, we should be getting the dragon seeds this later in the season, episode 6. Silverwing is mounted by a man called Ulf the White because of his white hair. Sea Smoke is mounted by Adam of Hull, who's only 15. And then Vermithor is mounted by a blacksmith's bastard, a towering man called Hugh Hammer, or Hard Hugh. And then, of course, there are the wild dragons. I really, really hope we get the wild dragons. There's Sheepstealer, who's mounted by Nettles. And then there's Grey Ghost and the Cannibal, who they are never mounted. They never have any riders. And then in episode 6, I think we'll get Aegon and Viserys leaving with Aegon's dragon Stormcloud, and they leave on a war galley on their way to Pentos. Unknowingly, they are sailing straight into the teeth of the Triarchy. And the Triarchy are 3 sister cities from Essos that team up, and they have a fleet that battles on behalf of Aegon and Team Green. And then episode 7, we should get Aegon and Stormcloud return to Dragonstone, and Stormcloud dies after they are found and set upon by the Triarchy ships. They're attacked. Viserys, he doesn't escape, but he hides, and he hides his identity, and he is presumed dead. They don't find him yet. So we'll have the Battle of the Lysene fleet versus the Velaryon fleet. This is the Battle of the Gullet. It's I think it's the largest naval battle of the war. We'll have the Dragon Seeds versus the Triarchy. We'll get that image of the 5 dragons flying from Dragonstone. We'll have, it's so sad, we'll have the fall of Vermax and Jacaerys. Prince Viserys, like I already said, Prince Viserys is lost and presumed dead. There's the fall of Driftmark and High Tide. They're both sacked and put to the torch by the Triarchy. We have the Sea Snake saying, "If this be a victory, I pray I never win another." We'll have Ormond Hightower. That is the brother to Otto Hightower, and him and his troops, they're moving to defend Team Green, and he is cut off by the lords of Golden Grove and Bitterbridge until the arrival of Tessarion, the Blue Queen, and her rider Daeron, who is the youngest son of Alysanne and Viserys. And after these two major losses, Rhaenyra, she's going to resolve to use fire and blood. She's going to say, hey, I have these dragons, I'm going to start using them. Aemond is acting as protector of the realm, and he wants to leave and go face Daemon. I think this is when we'll get that scene of him telling Criston, my uncle is a challenge I welcome. And so Aemond and Criston, they're going to leave King's Landing with Vhagar. And then episode 8 will be the final episode of the season, and I think this is when we'll get Rhaenyra sacking King's Landing. Daemon, he's going to fly west along of the God's Eye, and he's going to arrive in King's Landing. So I really hope that we get Rhaenyra and her gleaming black scale armor that she wears in Fire and Blood. She will leave Dragonstone on her way to King's Landing. So we have Rhaenyra and her dragons descending from the skies. There's Sheepstealer lights atop Visenya's hill. Silverwing and Vermithor land on the hill of Rhaenys outside of the dragon pit. And I think it's so sweet that even though they have different riders, that Silverwing and Vermithor are still bonded together and still fly together. Daemon, he circles around the Red Keep and he brings down Caraxes in the outer yard, and he makes sure that it's safe, and then he signals to Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra descends upon Syrax. And then Sea Smoke remains circling as a warning to any threat of defiance. We should get Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne in her armor in episode 8. We'll get her demanding Alysanne to yield or burn, and Alysanne yields. We'll have Larys disappears, the Clubfoot, and as does Aegon. Aegon, he disappears. Nobody knows, not even Alysanne, where he goes. So I do think that will be the finale. Will be Rhaenyra sacking King's Landing and Rhaenyra triumphant. I think perhaps our final image will be Rhaenyra stepping off of the Iron Throne. And there is, in the book, there's a mention that the Iron Throne cuts her and kind of scorns her. So it'll be interesting to see, maybe that'll be our final shot of Rhaenyra being scorned, perhaps by the Iron Throne. So those were my predictions for the events of each episode in Season 2 of House of the Dragon. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. Please check out my other videos. I have videos breaking down the Team Black trailer for Season 2, as well as some fan edits of Daenerys, and I also have some Fallout content about that new show. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!